Too much what? Too much money?
Too much money or too much, or too much ability? Too much
Brings your shot on!
What are we talking about? Bring your checkbook. Let's talk.
It is time for Boxing Scene's top stories only on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I am George D. Metellus. Quick reminder to download the ProBox TV app where apps are available. Here on Boxing Scene Top Stories, we get the insights of our world champions. We have Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi joining us here on Top Stories. Well, the compelling return of Devin Haney from his controversial no contest with Ryan Garcia in April could be against Teofimo Lopez, according to a Forbes report. Now, the WBO super lightweight champion, Teofimo Lopez, is looking for a major bout after a couple of victories against lesser opponents in Jermaine Ortiz and Steve Claggett that soured his relationship with Top Rank. Now, this is pay-per-view worthy for Top Rank in its expiring ESPN deal and could reveal where Haney is in his career following the Garcia debacle. All right, Chris, has Teofimo Lopez slipped during those last two lackluster bouts because of the quality of the opposition, and could Haney bring out the best in him?
I mean, I would be surprised if this fight got made right away. Haney coming off of that disastrous night with Ryan Garcia, which was a loss that night, but has been stricken from the record due to the failed drug tests and not making weight of Ryan Garcia. But regardless, though, he took a lot of damage in that fight. He was shot 3 times. It takes a lot of recovery from a fight like that. And he's a boxer. He's a guy who's going to be much more using his timing, his judgment of range, that kind of stuff. You need to come back with a get-back fight. And Teofimo Lopez is another kind of guy you want to get right back into with. Teo is one of those guys where he generally fights to the level of his opposition. So he looks great against good fighters. He looks so-so against lesser fighters. With a Devin Haney, I would imagine that he was going to think that Devin was a very dangerous opponent, and he's going to show up. And Teo's one of those guys, any given night, he can put on a performance of a lifetime. And he's still young enough that he still has that ability to dig, going back to that well. So that would be a very interesting fight. This could just be clickbait to get people more interested in Haney actually coming back, saying, yeah, I'm gonna come right back and I'm gonna fight Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez, I'm pretty sure, is in some harrowing legal battle at the moment as well. So this could also be why I can throw this guy's name out where the fight really can't even happen. So this could just be clickbait stuff, but in terms of the fight itself, if it were to happen, if it ever is to happen, I love this fight. I've always wanted this fight. I thought that they were two of the best guys at 140 when they were in the same weight class at the same time. So, and just stylistically and the way they would match up, I think it's a very, very entertaining fight, and I would like to see them match wits and skills because they're both super talented.
Yeah, Paulie, what do you take? What's your take on Teofimo maybe needing Devin Haney here to bring out the best of him?
Yeah, I've got some mixed feelings about this. I could see how it could just be clickbait. I could see how this could be something that just is used to fuel both rumor speculations and keep both guys' names in the press. I would be shocked if Haney comes back with a guy of this level after that fight, but nonetheless, you got to remember that when it got Turki Al-Ashik involved and Haney has a relationship with him in Riyadh's season, there could be maybe that kind of extra money thrown into the table where everybody has a price and then you would make the fight. I'm not quite sure. I think about this fight and Haney for the most part has made buttered his bread fighting past their prime fighters. And then even past his prime Lomachenko, I didn't think he won that fight. So I'd be really shocked if he came here and took on a Teofimo Lopez who's pretty much at its prime age, and especially coming off the Ryan Garcia fight, where even if it's not a loss, you have some blowback from that fight. It's really tough to fathom a reality like that. But having said that, anything, regardless, I can't see a reality where Devin Haney could beat Teofimo Lopez in any reality, like be before, after, tomorrow, later, yesterday. I can't see Haney ever beating Teofimo Lopez. So, do you make the fight now where there is a little bit of blowback from both guys? Haney being the guy who's getting blowback from the Ryan Garcia performance, even though, in my opinion, it's unmerited and unwarranted criticism, and Teofimo Lopez getting some criticism for the performance against Jermaine Ortiz. Maybe you put them up against each other with that, and if it pays a lot of money, if somebody you can gather the money, maybe they just decide to just go ahead and do it. But yeah, with Lopez, we've seen him perform against prime fighters, very good fighters. We've seen him have explosive performances, you know. And Haney, we have not yet seen him. With Haney, we have not yet seen him do it against guys in their prime, out fighting at their best. Like I said, we saw the Lomachenko fight, who even past his prime is still excellent. But most people don't even think he won that fight. So, you know, Lopez is battle-tested at this kind of level. Regardless of what criticisms there may be, we've seen Lopez perform time and again against high-level fighters at their best. We have not seen that from Devin Haney, and there's still a question about that.
Yeah, the Josh Taylor fight for Teofimo Lopez is a prime example of what you're talking about there.
The Lomachenko fight is a prime example for Lopez. That's the only guy who really beat Lomachenko.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, what do you make of, is this maybe too much for Haney here to come back and fight a fighter like Teofimo Lopez?
Too much what? Too much money?
Too much money or too much, ability, too much
Brings your shot on!
What are we talking about? Bring your checkbook. Let's talk. I mean, come on. Listen, guys, we're prize fighters. And like you said, Champ, if there's enough money in the pot, you might take a fight that you wouldn't normally do. I know I did that a bunch of my career. So you take fights when the opportunity is there. You got to strike where the iron is hot. I don't know if Devin Haney and Team Haney needs to do that right now. But listen, if there's enough money floating your way, it can happen. It can happen, and I think it would be a big spectacle. This would be a fight that I think people would be interested in.
I think it would be a huge win for Devin Haney if he was able to do this and beat Teofimo Lopez. Like I said, he hasn't got a win like this on his resume. It would be a huge career builder.
That would resurge his career.
Yeah. 100%. While I think the win is actually more important to Haney's career than it would be to Teofimo's career.
Agreed.
Teofimo wouldn't get as much credit for beating Haney as Haney would for beating Teofimo.
So who do you guys have as the favorite? I'm not asking you to, fantasy boxing here, so indulge me a little bit. But Chris, who would you have as the favorite in that fight if it does ever come to pass?
I mean, I have a lot more respect for Devin Haney than not that you don't respect him, Champ, but like his skills. I actually think he's a very, very difficult style to deal with for literally any one of these guys. He's long. He's got that jab. His conditioning is fantastic. He's big for the weight class. But saying all of that, I still got Teofimo Lopez. I think Teofimo Lopez, if not for that horrible night with Kambosos, we're looking at Teofimo Lopez in the top 5 at pound for pound. He is an exceptional athlete with power, speed, ability to pull the trigger, counterpunch. I mean, he is a phenom when he's on. Problem is, when he's not on, you get a night like Kambosos. You get a night like Sandor Martin. You get a night like Claggett or Jermaine Ortiz. So that's the issue. He is so hot and cold. But, man, when he's hot, he's molten lava.
Yeah, so, Paulie, take your pick. Who's the favorite in that fight?
I mean, with Teofimo looking bad, I don't see anybody else fighting Jermaine Ortiz. Jermaine Ortiz also made Lomachenko look bad. Sandor Martin has made a lot of people look bad, even has a win over Mikey Garcia. I don't see anybody else jumping at, the thing about Teofimo is he takes on the toughest fights and looks good. But even when he doesn't look good, he's taking on tough fighters that nobody knows are tough fighters, and everybody else avoids, mind you.
And their prime.
Their prime. So his schedule, the strength of schedule on Teofimo is really, really good. I mean, he's basically like an Eastern fighter in the West. I mean, he'll fight everybody, So it's not really the question of who's going to win. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious who would win this fight, but that's why the win would be so much bigger if Haney was able to pull it off. Because I don't think there will be many believers in Haney in this fight, especially, again, unmeritoriously for the fact that he's getting criticism about the Ryan Garcia fight, which I don't agree with.
It certainly will be fascinating to see if this fight actually happens. And, of course, any developments between Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez. We will talk about it here on Top Stories. Just a quick reminder, scan the QR code, like, subscribe, and leave your comments on our YouTube channel. And download the ProBox TV app where apps are available. And this Friday, you can watch the champs watching Jake Paul take on Mike Tyson. Turn down that commentary on Netflix, as I like to say, and listen to the champs give their insights and commentary on the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. And then a couple weeks later, ProBox TV returns to Ireland, December 7th, the Contender Series, a great fight card from Ireland. I am George DeMatteis, and this is Boxing Scene's Top Stories.
ProBox TV Contender Series. On December 7th, look for an all-out Irish war as Dylan the Real Deal Moran battles Tyrone the Mighty Celt McKenna at the top of a stacked ProBox-worthy card.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.